thank you so much, Julia, for this lovely meeting today. I would like to present my great friend Klaus Hundsbischler. Klaus is a filmmaker and he is also a musician, and we have met each other 2021. 2021 in Klangwolke in Linz, a very, very big festival in the Austrian context. It was an event where I played as a soloist. I was lifted in the air, and Klaus was doing so much work there, and he will tell you later about what he was doing. But this is the initial contact where we got in touch and we got to know each other. I'm very happy that I got to know Klaus. It is my luck and my pleasure that I knew him from there. So ever since we have been in contact. First, we were not in contact, but later on we started to collaborate with different kinds of jobs. Maybe, Klaus, you want to comment on that?
Yes, what I did at Klangwolke, they also had this video. It was a mixture between live performance and video projections, and I was working on those video projections. For example, Lina had to play cello underwater and what that.
Oh, yeah.
And I worked on that, but not actually on the real life event, but there we met the first time.
It was the first time I knew about Klaus, and it was the first time that we talked a little bit, but actually our friendship kind of started after all of those events in this Klangwolke. So it was later that we started to talk to each other and became friends and everything, but I knew Klaus there and he knew me.
And Klaus, at what point in your career have you noticed that the filmmaking could express something that you couldn't personally? How did you feel about this?
I'm not sure. I think I can express personally most of the things I want to express. Yeah. So it's not really that I need film to express something I can't do by myself. But the first time I really felt something really deep in my heart, where I thought, wow, this can express film, was I think when I saw City Lights from Charlie Chaplin. And if you remember the last scene, where he's in front of the flower shop and the girl comes out and she was blind before and she recognizes, oh, that's the guy who did that. I think I was deeply emotionally caught, but I never succeeded to do that in my movies. Probably I can express more by myself than through my movies.
Amazing. And Lina, you're a cello player, and how do you feel that your instrument can connect yourself to the audience and express your soul?
I think that when you're very genuine and original and you are yourself in every single moment in your life, whatever has happened, and you go and play a concert, if you're genuine, audience is going to feel that in good and bad. So it is not only about let's play another concert, let's do this gig, or let's do this concert. No, it is very much about interaction between the audience and myself. So whatever I have experienced, they are going to digest from my playing. They are going to feel it as well. So I think the biggest connection with the audience is being honest. That's what I think.
That's very important to an artist. And Klaus has a work on which he has to be very concentrated, focused, and also editing films is not very easy, right? Demands a lot of patience, attention to details. How do you deal with that demanding of your work?
First of all, I have to say that editing, I do a lot of things. I have to start like this. I'm directing, I'm editing, I'm writing film music. I have my own band and I play music with different bands for about, how old am I now? 50 years. So editing was only always a part of it. But editing was the most that I did because actually, and I think, yeah, editing is the best thing from all the things I do. But it was never my favorite job. I just got into that because when I was 25, I worked in Hollywood for Frank Zappa. And when I came back, everybody wanted me to put in that editing thing. And actually, I never wanted to do that, but yeah. So it took me quite some time to do some other things like directing and writing music for films. But actually editing I can do best, and I never had a problem with that on concentrating or being alone in the editing room. Actually I like to be alone in the editing room, and some of the directors really disturb me. And it's better if they're not there. With others it's good, but I had some where I really wished I had to be alone. But sometimes it's a little bit tiring. I don't like the things that really makes me a little bit stresses me is if we have 20 takes of the same shot just to find out the right one, or if you have a 4-hour interview from somebody in a documentary to find a good 5 minutes. That is not the real thing I want to do. I like more to do the real editing and making the pacing and everything. So yeah, that was a long answer to a question. But then now I'm quite okay with editing. I had years where I wasn't where I didn't feel well with editing, but now I think it's okay.
Tell us a little bit more about how it was working with Leina, this project. She was flying, she said. Tell us a little bit more about this flying project, playing the cello.
Leina has to talk about the flying project. I think the more direct work between us was when we did the short film in Ramallah about the Barenboim-Said Foundation. But first of all, there's something about the flying that's more...
Yeah. I mean, that was very interesting. You know, it was a project that I have never thought that I would do. And then I have been very used to playing on stage in, let's say, very like conservative environment, classical music environment, etc. And then I was in this Klangwolke. It was a real coincidence. And I have to thank here my great friend Daniel Ott from Vienna, who was the one who said, you have to invite Leina there. And I'm so happy that this happened. But, you know, my problem is that I have incredible fear of heights. So it was, for me, it was almost impossible to do it. It was not easy. It was terrible, absolutely terrible experience. But at the same time, music was fantastic. We had incredible people working, like Klaus himself, incredible film director, Robert Dornhelm, etc. So I was very excited, very happy to do that. But I almost died from going up there in that ladder thing and you know, have to play there as well. Yeah, so that's how we met.
That's great. And how does your emotional state influence in your art?
Is it a question for me?
Or both, I think is important to know, because you both are in different areas, but the emotional state always influences our work. Telling a story as a musician, as a filmmaker and musician, what can you tell us about that?
Okay, so maybe I start. My emotional state, it has everything to do with how I perform. And I actually think a little bit outside of the box, the more complex your emotional state is, the more interesting your performance is. I actually want to disagree with, and not disagree, but I see a lot of stability in performers. I do not feel that stability is maybe the best source of having a great outcome. Actually, the greatest performances come out of a real misery, feeling terrible, feeling anxious, having had incredibly bad experiences. And why do I say this? I don't want to sound negative, but many times in arts and music, the terrible feelings turn out to be the most loving environment, because you wish that there is something more beautiful in front of you. So I'm a fan of being able to turn something terrible into a beauty that everyone can enjoy, because we all have it inside us. And I also think that the audience, they experience the same things. We are all humans. We all have all kinds of things going on. And when the performer is able to transmit that, what they experience in life, those problems or bad feelings, and they turn that into beauty, it touches more people. Stability is overestimated value. Klaus, what do you think?
I think in movies it's different because it's not so direct than in music. There are so many steps involved, from the script to the preparation to shooting to editing to post-production, whatever. So, and then in the cinema you have a premiere, okay, but then it's shown there and there. So also being as a musician, my emotional state is much more important. How I play the guitar, what I write in that moment. Filmmaking, and since I'm familiar with every step, is so different. Every step is so different that emotions are not so important, because it's not so direct. If you do something wrong, or if you play a wrong note or have a bad day, okay, then it's not good. But in filmmaking, I think this emotional state, you can't answer if this influences all these different steps. You know what I mean?
And her unfulfilled love to Mauricio, the flying dragon. She's down in a circus ring, and he's always high up in the top of the circus tent. So it's a long-distance love affair. He's flying high above the ring. She's down there looking up to him, hoping he will once come down to buy for her a wedding gown. But there is more tragedy in the circus. Kippo the clown loves Vanessa immortally, but she got only eyes for Maurizio. Every day at 6 o'clock, Drambo the elephant needs a swig of whiskey because he's always very nervous before he gets out for the show. But Gippo drinks the whiskey himself to forget his ill-fated love. And every time the band starts to play, Drambo the elephant gets very nervous. And that happens now for 30 years. Please give me a little swig. Would be better if it's big. I'm too nervous to perform. My heart beats like a thunderstorm. Now, Bimba, the lion, stinks so much you can smell it in the whole area. And that makes the elephant nervous too, because he has to pass the lion cave to get into the circus ring. And the lion stinks so much that Drambo is very confused. And that happens now for 30 years.
Do you like my brutish smell? If you don't, just go to hell. The devil likes the elephants because they have more meat than hands.
So, one day, Drambo the elephant is extremely nervous because Gippo drank all the whiskey and the lion stinks more as usual. He enters the tent and the band starts to play. Drambo the elephant is so nervous, he loses his balance and falls against the tent post. This causes the tent to shake. He misses the bar of the trapeze. He falls down and hits Vanessa. Their necks break. Now there they lie in the dust of the circus ring. Dead, but finally together. Gippo couldn't get over what happened. And Drambo felt terribly guilty. So they drank themselves to death. And because of the loss of his greatest attractions, the circus went broke. Blood is in the circus ring. The lovers with the angels sing. Be mine, be mine, be mine, be mine, my Lord.
And you're also a director, right?
Yeah. Also,
And how do you, yeah, and how do you consider
Great boss.
yourself?
Bobby?
How do you feel? Because you have to be very directive as a director, very specific at some scenes. Because you've mentioned you don't like many repetitions of a scene. Everything is prepared. Then the idea is that everything goes right, because it demands a lot of time, a lot of work. How do you feel the vulnerability of human being natural? How do you deal with that in a scene in which you have to be very directive?
Do you mean my own vulnerability or the vulnerability of actors or the crew? Which
I was
vulnerability?
talking about you, but it's very good that what you posed. I will extend the question to the human beings involved in the group.
From my own vulnerability, I did only one really big series. We shot for 13 weeks. It was a 13-episode series as a director. That was the only, I think, longer fictional series I did as a director. I did a lot of documentaries. But what happened there to prevent my own vulnerability, I fell in love with the script supervisor, which was not good for my standing as a director, but it happened. No, but no, when I'm really directing with a lot of actors and a big crew, I just try to be cooperative. Everybody should bring on his own ideas, and if I like them, I say, yeah, let's do that. I'm not saying do it like this, do it like that. The actors should bring their own ideas, the costume designer, the set designer, we talk about it, and then if I really don't like it, I say, can we do it different? But first of all, I'm not saying do it like this. And I think in this 13 weeks, what I did, my most important thing was that we have that there is a good feeling on the set. I think that's the most important thing. Yeah, that everybody feels fine. And so I did that, and yeah, I think it turned out quite good. After 2 weeks of work, the producers came to me. Huh? How did you do that? Everybody's so happy on set. It must be great. They didn't recognize that before. And still at the end, after 13 weeks, which is a very intense work, all the crew members came to me and really said, wow, that was at least the most relaxed shoot they ever did.
I can agree with this because I have seen Klaus at his work. It's unbelievable. Klaus is a person who has this unbelievable talent to make everyone feel good, no matter the circumstances. Everyone feels great. So, you know, I'm just hearing also, I'm listening to my friend talking about it, the process, but for me, I recognize that Klaus is the guy who makes everyone feel comfortable, no matter how difficult everything is around the process or the program or whatever we are doing. Yeah.
Get it. And what about you, Lina? Talking about your instrument, what would your instrument tell about you that some people may not notice when you play? Oh, it's a secret, huh?
That's the secret. That's the secret. When I play my instrument, I think there is number one, cello is a choice of my voice. So very poetic. I was playing first violin with my twin sister. I have a twin sister in Finland who is a scientist right now. And we started with violin. And I just felt it is too high. The frequency is too high for me. I feel that I'm more darker person, even though maybe from my hair you wouldn't think that. But it is true. So if we go to these very fundamental basic things about cello projecting my soul, it would be first the sound, and that it is more close to the resonance of human voice. So I think that is something that definitely, when I'm being myself, cello is the instrument that is going to be able to project what I feel. But now if we talk about music in general, how does my instrument project what I feel? I think it is a mystery that even I cannot explain. I hope people feel me. This is my wish. I always have hoped since I'm a little girl that I put a bottle in the sea with a little message and hopefully somebody is going to find me. This was my wish. Why do I do music and why am I not a mathematician? Which was also very interesting for me, was the mystery of putting a message in this sea and maybe someone finds it, but also maybe not. And that misery is so puzzling, it's so beautiful that you don't know if somebody will find you or not. I hope this answers a bit.
That's great. There's something about, I guess it's Donald Winnicott that mentioned that an artist is someone who is desperate to be seen and at the same time they want to hide. So there is this double personality in an artist.
Wow, yeah. You made a very good point here. Very on the
Julia
point.
is psychoanalyst. He knows. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And
Absolutely.
talking about that, I would like to ask you both, have you ever refused to be in a project, or how do you choose your projects, the ones that are going to match your own essence, I can say?
Klaus, you first.
Have I ever been in a project? Can you ask me again? Where?
Talking about the projects, how do you analyze which one you're gonna get, or the ones you say, no, perhaps not, it's not my cup of tea?
Yeah.
First of all, since I do so many different things, it's a big difference if I do an own project or if somebody asks me to do a project. If somebody asks me to do a project, I have two things. Things to consider. First of all, does the subject interest me, and who is the director, or who am I doing that? And then I decide what I'm going to do, if I like the project or the director or both, and then I'll decide if I want to do it. That's one thing. If I do my own projects, how do I decide which project I want to do? Actually, if I'm making a film, most of the films I did had to do with music.
Mm-hmm.
So I just, I don't know. I really don't know how to answer that. Really, your question.
Hard question, but you said something very important. Films and music are totally connected. You don't have cinema without music, right? If you think about a movie, perhaps you have the need to express some silence at a certain point, but at a certain point, it's necessary to have a soundtrack and something happening, right? So you're working with silence, visual aids, and music. It's a lot, right? How do you choose the best soundtrack for every film you're working on?
Okay. You mean by silence, not silence per se, silence, but silence where there is no music?
Yeah, well, the pauses between music, we can say, between music, between language. Sometimes you need a character to be reflecting on something and a little bit of silence, then comes the music. How do you work with all these necessities that a film has? Like, it's very complex, right?
I think the most important thing is when you're going to use music and when you should not. I think the problem with most of the movies is that they have an overload of music. Because if you have a scene that is emotionally not too strong, usually you go to the film composer and say, make me something that it feels more emotional. And I think that's wrong. You should just use music not to emphasize something that is not in the movie. Actually, a scene should stand for itself without the music, then it's a good scene. But you can music for a different kind of thing as a counterpoint or whatever. As long as it's just lying there as a music bed, I don't think it's okay. So therefore, for me, as a director, as an editor, as a musician, the secret is when to use music and when not to use music. But in general, for me, most of the movies have too much music. You can spare almost half of it and the movie will still work.
There's a great point of view. Yeah. And
Yeah.
what do you think, Leina, about this? How do you feel, not as an artist now, but watching films as the audience? How do you feel about the music in it? Can you pay attention a lot to music in films because you're working directly playing the cello? How does it work for you? Can you just get away from music for a moment and work on images? Or are you constantly attracted to the sounds?
It is parallel two streets. So I pay attention to everything that is impactful for myself. It means sometimes there is no music whatsoever. Let's say, for example, a fantastic Finnish film director, Aki Kaurismäki, uses almost no music. And it is very impactful. It is very serious. And because there is this silence, you're waiting. You're waiting for the emotional cue. And the emotional cue comes from the music. Now, let's say about Hollywood movies, etc. There is a lot of cue. It is for the broader audience, and I love that. You know, I can love anything and everything. There are so many different ways to deal with, you know, getting the person involved in that film. There are so many different ways. I would say like this, whatever is good is good. And that sounds very simplified, but I trust my intuition in this as well. There are movies that have a lot of music, but if the music is horrible, if it's badly written, I'm not gonna pay attention. I don't care about the quantity, I care about the quality. And the film director is the guy or the lady who is going to decide how much I put emotional cues here with the music and how much I don't. And I let it in the imagination of the audience member. So actually, this is a very interesting question. Thank you so much. But for me, it really depends on the context of the film. Sometimes silence is the loudest. It is the loudest music ever. So what can I say? All I know is that I don't know.
I also have to say something. There is a lot of great film music.
Oh yes.
And for me,
yes.
Great film music is if it can stand alone without the movie. And there is a lot of great film music there. So Hollywood is in this tradition of great film music. I'm not saying that you don't need music for a film. But for a broader audience, I think it's important. And if there is such a good music like, I don't know, John Williams, whoever wrote that, I'm fine with it, even if I wouldn't need it in that scene. But still, since it's so great music, I also can enjoy that. Yeah.
That's great. You were about to say something, forgive me. Yeah.
No problem, no problem. I think what I was about to say is that sometimes, you know, I listen to a lot of music in general. I'm very interested in music. So there are many soundtracks from films, whereas in the film, I would feel it is an overload of music. So the mass of music is a lot. But if I listen to the soundtrack without the film, I might enjoy it in per se, just like that, because the music is fantastic. So it depends on the context. Everything is fluctuating, everything is flexible, you never know. And yeah, it depends on the director, it depends on the context, it depends on the visual scene, it depends on so many different things. So actually there is no answer to anything. It's all about how do you feel about the result. Yeah.
And I think it's a big difference if you have an big Hollywood movie, or if you have an independent small movie, or if you have an art film, whatever. Every genre deals different with music.
Genau.
Yeah. And personally, do you have favorite films, the ones that you find perfect, that you always watch, and you don't get tired of it? A favorite film that reminds you of childhood or any good parts of your life that you can recommend to the public?
Klaus, it's your call.
No, actually, there are so many good films around that I don't have that film. No, I don't have that.
I get it. Probably because you both, and this is a question people might have, you both are amazing artists. You do it the whole lifetime. Yeah, you work with it. And at a certain point, how do you relax? You know, do you need some time away from arts, doing something else? How do you relax? What do you do in your free time?
Okay, so I think I have no free time, and I have no work. It is everything is intertwined, everything is connected. So I would say that my biggest pleasure is actually when I'm very excited about anything. It can be a project, it can be a situation, it can be that the weather is very extravagant. It's snowing incredibly a lot. It could be also that I go to a concert and I'm astonished by what happened. So what is relaxation? I don't have an answer. I feel parallel. I'm never relaxed, and at the same time, in order to be creative, I'm always relaxed. So I have to be somehow relaxed in order to create something or come up with a great idea. But I don't have these particular habits. Let's say, if I want to relax, I'm going to put a candle on and read a book. No, it's not me. It doesn't work with me. No, and Klaus is laughing. He knows that. So everything is possible. There is no limit to the imagination of what can relax. And to be honest, just a final point here, I feel that I don't need to relax. If I sleep certain hours per night, that shall be my relaxation. And as my brother says sometimes, he says, we are all going to rest in the grave. It sounds very sinister, but this is my mentality. So I feel that relaxation can be anything. I'm very relaxed right now. I'm talking with you, fantastic interviewer Giulio Bodo, psychoanalyst, and I'm here with my great friend Klaus. So I feel relaxed. I'm talking about important theme. I'm relaxed.
That is a great answer, and the only thing I can say is my work looks like this. I'm having a project or I don't have a project. So it's not that I'm working 40 hours a week and have 5 weeks of holiday or whatever. I'm having a project or not. That's one thing. But for me, there is nothing like I'm having a holiday or something. If I have to go on a holiday, I'm bored after 4 days.
Me too. Holidays are the worst. Holidays are horrible.
So if I don't have a project or not working on a project, I'm just trying to teach me the newest video software, the newest audio software to do like this, because I do my own mixing, I do my own music producing. So it's not the usual thing that you work for this period and then you go on holiday. No, you have a project or not, and in between you're going to think what are you going to do next. And,
Yeah.
and holidays are boring. But anyway, that's
Yes. I understand. I think the same.
and also with our job, we have seen a lot of the world. I have been to so many countries filming. I don't need to go there for holiday to experience, I don't know, see this place or that place because I saw it
Exactly.
Professionally.
Exactly. It
So
comes. Yeah.
you mix everything. It's a good idea. I think I get what you mean. Is that when you do something you love, yeah, it sounds like a cliche, but you love doing this. At a certain point, you having a holiday, and you say 4 days of holiday. No, I want to go to work. I want to do something, right? Your mind starts to work. I understand. And have you ever been into a situation like I have spoken to many musicians, some of them mentioned the burnout or situations like this. Have you ever been in a very stressful situation like this? Because people think music is only fun, making films is only fun, you don't have a stress at all, it's zero. How do you feel about this? And what could you recommend to artists so they can get better quality of life?
About burnout and stress, it depends. When I'm directing, you get close to burnout because it's really tough. You have 14-hour days and 15-hour days. You have a big crew. You have the production company in your neck and whoever. Yeah, that's kind of tough. But I didn't do that too much. I did a lot of documentaries by my own with small crews. And this is also, I like a little bit editing more now because it's not so stressful than being on a set. I don't know if I ever had a burnout. I don't know. I think I never had. Because I took things not probably too serious, or I did take it serious, but I took it on the other hand easy. I don't know. I can live with that. And I'm prepared that people are nasty, and a lot of people in film business are okay. As when I tell you how much I didn't get paid, sometimes because
Sometimes they're okay. Yeah. So
I live with that old saying, don't expect anything, and if you get something, it's a bonus. I think I got through with that.
Great tip. Yeah.
For me, it's like this, talking about burnout and, people are expressing themselves as, they're experiencing, depression, anxiety, all those things. I would say that those are ghosts that live in my living room every day. Mm-hmm. Every single day, those are present. So in the moment of the most joy, I also have the ghost of anxiety, feeling down, melancholy, the fear of what's going to come next. So I think it's very much about the personal view on how do you take all of that in, because it's going to be there. We are working in a very, very abstract environment where things are literally in the air. Let's just go very fast to music, for example. So music happens like this. We have a melody, it's gone. Did it affect someone or did it not? It's very abstract. So dealing with that as a profession, it can be excruciating. It can be very depressing. And I think it takes certain character to be able to tolerate the exposure of your sensitivity and to be able to go on with the feedback, with the fact that it's over. When the concert is over, it's over. It does not go on. It's not that next day you go to an office at 9 a.m. again. So I think that I am sure, I'm convinced, I have seen that many people in these fields, they experience a major depression. And there is a taboo about this. Nowadays, you should not be depressed, you should not be anxious, you should not feel bad. You know what? You should feel bad, you should be depressed, you should be anxious, be yourself. I'm not afraid of that. I can be all of those parallel to feeling great and doing great things. So the answer to the question is, it is all in the air. I think the most important thing is to be able to somehow manage the life so that you do not drown in those bad feelings. Because bad feelings is not a bad thing. Bad feelings are a great resource to art. It is the depth. As my mother says, who is intelligent is going to feel terrible. Why? Because they understand that the dimension is not only from 0 to infinity plus, it is also from 0 to infinity minus. Very talented, intelligent people are very melancholic, they're very anxious, they're very depressed, and they do great things. I'm not afraid of that. I hope this explains something.
Be brave. This is the message. I guess it was Schopenhauer, the German philosopher, who said, the less intelligent you are, the less you suffer. In a manner, as far as you can understand life, you suffer somehow. And that's what you said is really important, because you have to express yourself. Keeping things inside of you is not a benefit, right? You have to express yourself. And it's not bad to feel sad. You have to feel sad and elaborate it, right? Fantastic answer. And Mr. Klaus, about this, how do you feel about this situation? For example, she mentioned something really important. When you play a note, the note is there and gone very fast. It's like you have to express yourself in a few seconds. What message would you like to express about you as an artist to your public? What would you like to share?
I think Lina said it very perfect, but what I can say, I think I can't share anything verbally. I think the message should be seen in the work I did, in the music I wrote, in the films I made, in the films I edited. I think there is the thing what I wanted to express. So actually I don't have anything verbally to say. It should be communicated through my work.
So, my Indian friends, this is Vienna.
Tell us, please, Lina, about your projects for 2026. what can the fans expect from Leijala this year?
The audience can expect that everything is going to be changing as always, every time. But my goal this year is to provide great things for people that know nothing about music or film or concerts. I think that the older I got, the more important this became for me. I think that people who might feel underprivileged as an audience member, and they might feel that it is so, classical music, for instance, it's so far away and I wouldn't understand, so I don't go to concert. That's wrong, and that's something I want to change. I'm enough old, I'm middle-aged, I want to change that. It is a life goal among very many other things, but this really matters to me, that I want to take my feet and go to places where people feel that, oh, I couldn't afford this concert, or I wouldn't understand this concert. And you know what? Exactly to those people I would like to go to. I think this is like the biggest dream for this year. All the rest, these are details. Doesn't matter right now. I'm going to do it anyway. But I really care that people can enjoy music. Why do I say this? Is because if we look at the very, very big, broad picture, music has been always part of all cultures, no matter where we are, in Asia, in Africa, in Middle East, in America, in the old Americas, in European context. Every single person has a sense of rhythm, melody, and the willingness to express themselves somehow through music. So what am I doing here? Acting, oh, we have these great concerts, only those guys who can afford 300 euros ticket. No, I want that it belongs to anyone and everyone, and I want to be the ambassador for that everyone can access. And I'm ready to talk with anyone. And that's my goal for this year.
Art connecting people, this is amazing. Yeah.
Yes.
And so we are three people from different countries, different cultures, speaking about something sublime, which is art. And Klaus, please, about 2026, new projects coming soon.
Okay, now I am 72 now.
You are 41. Come on.
Which means it's not so easy to get from the film funds to get some money, because they don't say that, but as an older man, you don't get funded because it's for younger people, which is okay. I have two small documentaries, again about musicians. I try to make little documentaries about that, but the most important thing for me is to give some more concerts with my band and be on stage and play my music, and we also play some music by Frank Zappa, but mostly my compositions. That's right now the most important thing for me, because music for me is the best. It's not movies, it's music.
That's amazing. I am very happy to have this conversation with you. Thank you very much for being here with me. It was an amazing time, and I hope to interview you soon again.
Thank you so much, Julio. I think that we both agree so much of the importance of the work that you are doing. Thank you so much. We are so honored to be your guests. And I hope that we can always keep talking, and your interest to classical music and arts, it is absolutely phenomenal. And you preparing for the broader audience these questions that interest the humankind and the people, it's really valuable. We thank you so much. We are so happy that we have had this interview. Thank you so much, Julio.
Thank you.
And cut. I always wanted to say that, but not in front of a consagrate directors.
So nice.